There are many shows throughout our time that have changed television and culture as we know it. In the short history of television, 3 shows stick out: American Idol, General Electric Theater, and Saturday Night Live. American Idol was an unexpected success that has brought about stars such as Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, and Jennifer Hudson. And as it comes to an end this year in its final season, it's important to look back. American Idol was a show that legitimized reality talent competitions, and one of the first to find and create talent on the show. It has created space for a plethora of shows such as The Voice, The Biggest Loser, and The Bachelor. Having an unscripted series do so well prompted networks to explore other ideas. Another thing Idol did was introduce the audience to live TV, with a packed audience watching live, as well as a family audience watching live from home, dialing to vote once they finish the show. Never again will so many tune in to vote on a show like they did for Idol after being charmed by Ryan Seacrest. The success of people on Idol that weren't the actual winners of the show, such as Katharine McPhee, Clay Aiken, and Adam Lambert, also changed our culture by showing all that exposure on television is good enough to become known. And that is the premise for shows like Shark Tank and Top Chef. Now on to the next one. General Electric Theater might actually be one you guys don't recognize by name. This show was sponsored by General Electric's Department of Foreign Relations, and in the early 1950s, a man named Taft Schreiber hired a then liberal Ronald Reagan to host the show. Reagan was actually out of work at the time, and he happily took the paid position. It allowed him security, and GE had him travel all around the country to different electricity plants, giving speeches to his employees. Ipso facto, Reagan became the goodwill ambassador and the public spokesperson for the electricity giant, and after being on air for almost 10 years, the job turned Reagan into an outspoken conservative. The same man who hired Reagan for the job convinced Reagan to switch from a Democrat to a Republican, and 4 years later, he became governor of California. That's when a president was born. This show was the first and only time an electricity giant had a show on air for publicity, and the first time an actor amounted to a serious political career after exposure strictly through television and media. Most of you probably know and have watched Saturday Night Live, but what about way back to its first episode? It's been going on for 40 years now. The goal of SNL when it was created was to put the week's news into understandable context and to deflate the puffed-up establishment types. It was a way of reaching out to the youth. It's set out to be a news source for young viewers who wouldn't otherwise watch the news. This idea set the stage for interviewers and talk show hosts like Jon Stewart, John Oliver, Chelsea Handler, and so many more that exist today. Also, SNL has changed the game for political humor. By making candidates look foolish, they actually force candidates to come on the show to prove they can take a joke, such as Sarah Palin or Donald Trump. This has led to political appearances happening quasi-frequently on SNL, which remains the only leading comedy show where respected politicians will show their faces. Not because they want to, but because of the profound ability SNL has acquired, over 40 years, of influencing public opinion. Not only did SNL do all of this, but it has turned out stars that have changed comedy forever, from Chevy Chase to Adam Sandler to Tina Fey and Bill Murray.